Hello and welcome to day one of the 5-day prenatal yoga teacher training. I'm so happy to have you here, and I'm very grateful that you are wanting to learn how to use yoga to support and guide and inspire pregnant mamas and new moms. So whether you're a yoga teacher or a birth practitioner, a mom to be, or just someone who wants to know more about how to use yoga to really transform the journey to motherhood. I want you to just imagine standing at the front of a class or a circle or group, and you're talking and you're going to share some yoga, and then a pregnant person walks into the room. So chances are you feel a little bit nervous. If so, you are among friends. I remember feeling so full of anxiety when I started teaching over 20 years ago. And of course, we want to teach because we want to help people, and we're worried that we're going to hurt mama or baby. So that is completely normal. And one thing that I noticed is that pregnant women and yoga teachers as well respond to that nervousness on a spectrum, right? So on one end, it's like, I don't want anyone to strain themselves or do anything strenuous or strengthening. So let's just do very gentle, flowy yoga. Which is understandable and also can feel good, but it's not necessarily serving our pregnant mamas, because we're going to be carrying around this bowling ball size baby inside and out. And we really need our strength and our stability and our power during this time. On the other end of the spectrum, we have, like kind of not thinking about it and just let's just do yoga. And especially if you already have a practice, you might just feel like, I just need to do my practice. And this also is, it's not the end of the world. It can feel nice, but as yoga teachers, we might not be serving our pregnant mamas as fully as we can. And so by the end of even just today's session, I want you to be feeling more confident that you are providing safe and transformative yoga to your pregnant people. So why is it so important? We know that we have a crisis in our prenatal care in the US, and we know 1 out of 3 moms say that their birth was traumatic. 1 out of 7 experience some kind of postpartum depression or prenatal depression. It's actually more common to experience it before labor. We have a huge discrepancy in birth outcomes and maternal health when it comes to Black women. And, in general, we are just not doing this right. Anxiety is becoming even more prevalent than depression. And as yoga teachers, as birth practitioners, we don't want to be part of the problem. We don't want to convey our nervousness to them. Oh my God, you could be hurting baby. They're already worried enough. So we want to be part of the solution. And what that means is we can learn principles that will help us know that we are supporting the flow of prana. So what does that mean? Prana is the flow of life within the body, the flow of the body's intelligence, its power, and its nurturing energy. And what I've seen over the years is the nurturing energy is what opens the door to be able to connect to our wisdom and power. We always start from there. This is something that I talked about in the welcome video. If you haven't watched that, please just hop in and see it. But this idea of learning to mother ourselves, and how pregnancy is this opportunity to do that, but we can do it at any time because we're all pregnant with something. Something's gestating within us. And when we turn in lovingly with an intention to listen and to honor what we hear, that's when we start to step into that highest, most powerful Ma self. So I came up with these principles over the last couple of decades. I started out with just a really biomechanical kind of slant to it all. I have my master's in kinesiology, and I loved therapeutics, and I really wanted to just help people get out of knee pain, get out of hip pain, and this is very helpful for pregnant people. But I also began to see that pregnant people don't really care that much about like the exact, angle of the tailbone in relation to, the hip bone. They want to feel better. They have tons of aches and pains and discomforts, and they want to prepare for what's to come. So they want to know they're doing everything they can to open baby's exit strategy, and they want to enjoy this time, right? So, we can learn biomechanics, and that's part of the longer training, but honestly, it's just part of it. So I pared them down starting in 2012 when I created the 85-hour training. I pared them down to these 5 principles that we can all learn and follow and do with ease. They're based in the 5 natural elements: space, earth, water, fire, and air. They're really easy to remember. And then it's a lifetime of exploring and discovering how to apply them in different situations. But you can get a lot out of just this 20-minute training and then this little practice that we'll do to work with. And especially this one, because it's the foundation of all of them. So we start with space. We always start with space. Space, if you think about it, is the energy of potentiality. So before we are even in a body, right? We are just some kind of formless consciousness that takes the form of our body, according to yoga. And so we start from this place of space. We're going to learn how to make space for baby physically, mentally, energetically, and spiritually. And make space for baby, I think, is really the definition of prenatal yoga. In other words, if you are doing a pose and you're like, is this good for pregnancy? Is it safe for pregnancy? This is the number one most important question to ask. Does it make space for baby? Can we make space for baby in it? And already you're smarter than a lot of people who just know the do's and don'ts, because you can look at something that says, let's say, no twists. We're not allowed to do twists. And go, I know a twist that would make space for baby, right? Maybe just this. This is great. Here's a twist. Even twisting what's known as twisting across with your arm across. We're still making space for baby if you know where baby needs space. So let's start with that. The most important place to make space for baby is the back of the body. Okay, so the rib cage, think of it like a bell, and we want it ringing to the back. You can take your hands to your ribs and just gently, especially on the exhale, draw it back. The middle of your back should be going out. And this is especially important for your pregnant mamas, because baby nestles into the back of the body and moves out through the back of the pelvis. Also, pressure forward can actually start to separate our abdominal wall, putting us at risk for diastasis recti, where it doesn't come back. It's always going to be a little bit apart, but if it stays pretty wide, we can have issues. So baby we cradle baby in the back of the body. This is also where we need space for breath. So there's a lot going on in the front of the body. There's babies starting to get big and rise up. So this whole area of the lungs can be really impinged. When we move into the back, we're also naturally expanding out into the sides. And we have much more space to take a nice deep breath. So that is really helpful for mama. And the last reason I want to point out for making space physically in the back of the body is that traditionally in yoga, this is the place where we connect to our higher self, our universal self, our source energy. And it's a place where we can feel trust. So when our energy is moving forward, we're feeling like, I got to make stuff happen, right? It's just me. And things are not good. When we settle into the back of the body, we're sending a message to the nervous system. It's okay to relax. We can trust. We're part of a process. We're not in charge. Something bigger is at work, and let's just give it space. All right, so that's physically. Mentally, emotionally, my theory about postpartum depression has a lot to do with not being prepared for the realities of what it is. Obviously, there's more to it than that. But when we recognize on the 10-month journey of pregnancy, all the different ways that things are going to change, we make space for baby in our mind, in our lives, in our relationships, in the way that we think of ourselves, our identity, even as someone who can complete a task. When we really have these moments of like, whoa, okay, that's what it's going to be like. It just doesn't hit us so hard. So as prenatal yoga teachers, we can give mamas these moments to connect mentally, emotionally to baby and make space. And we do that just by offering little adjustments, make space for baby. There's so many ways that we can adjust a regular pose, but in a lunge, fingertips inside the front foot instead of on either side of the front foot, we have space for baby. And mentally, mama's remembering, oh yeah, I have a yoga partner today, and I want to make space for them. So just reminding mama, even like bow in, say hi to baby. And this is a wonderful cue because it reminds your mama to that baby's there, right? To connect. Sometimes we even picture baby and we get a little wave of love and care. But also this action of bowing in, and we'll see this in a moment in our short practice, expands the back of the body naturally. So it does both. And then we want to make space even spiritually. And this is a big conversation, but I'll just say that we can see pregnancy as this journey to developing our ability to mother ourselves. And I think it's magical that we have this baby inside us. And during this time, it's like so natural to want to slow down and listen in and, really take care of ourselves, because taking care of ourselves means taking care of baby. But if we give our mamas these skills, these practices that they can do for themselves, that can be a lifetime of the shift into connecting in. And remember, when we connect in a nurturing way, we also connect to our wisdom and power. And as a new mom, as a mom, that wisdom is going to guide us despite a lot of input from the world around us. That's going to be our greatest teacher. And so it's a huge gift. spiritually to teach people to step into that highest wisdom and power to guide them to it. So we're going to do a short practice to just experience space on these different levels. So I invite you to sit on something. So I'm sitting up on a bolster. You can just sit on the edge of a folded blanket or towel. And what this does is it allows your pelvis to tilt a little bit forward, like almost like you're falling off. And this creates space in the low back, allows you to lengthen all the way through the crown of your head. You can rest your hands down. I'll go ahead and move back a little bit. So rest your hands either down to ground your energy or turn your palms up, touching thumbs and index fingers together. And so when you close your eyes, I want you just to turn in with that same kind of love that you would for a little one. Not seeking what you can fix or change, but open to all the goodness that makes up who you are. Allow your exhale to help your pelvis descend toward the earth. Let your legs get heavy. When we relax and give over to support, we make space by lengthening downward. And then there's this opposite extension upward, just that naturally happens. Soften the back of your body. And I want you to imagine you're pregnant. And if you are, great. And if you're not, maybe think of something that's gestating within you. Maybe it's a project or an idea or just a new path forward. And I want you with every exhale to soften the back ribs back and give it a little more space. With the inhale, you can expand all around your heart center. When we invite spaciousness in, prana, life force, energy can move and flow easily through the body. And then you can bring your palms together and set an intention. So we always offer this to our mamas, just a moment to ask for what they want for themselves and for baby today. Breathe that in and exhale fully. Bow your head into your heart, which is connected to baby right now, beating baby's heart, and will always be connected from your heart to baby's heart. Release your hands, lift your head. We'll just do a couple poses. So let's come around to forearms and knees. And that looks like this. So interlacing fingers, walk your knees back a little bit, lengthening the distance from hips to armpits. Tuck your toes under just to get a little bit more stable, and then begin to sway your hips side to side. Every exhale, releasing your heart down. And then you can make some circles, so rounding the back body and then lengthening. Rounding out, and you can go the other direction. You can be a little more free form and just close your eyes. Make space in the back of your body as you move your hips around. Exhaling nice and long. And transitioning to your inhale smoothly, gradually.
Coming back into center, take your hands under your shoulders for a little cat cow. But the cat cow version for pregnancy, I sometimes call it cat length. You're going to exhale, look towards your belly, and make plenty of space in the back body. But as you inhale, instead of dropping your belly, I want you to press your thighs back and soften the chest down. You can even hug those shoulder blades to help it release down and forward. So just feel the difference when you fully collapse your belly versus you're lifting baby up toward the back a little bit. Let's do one more. Exhale, round it out. Inhale, keeping baby a little bit lifted, lengthen out. And then you can come down to all fours again and interlace to elbows and forearms, interlace your fingers and come up to puppy dog. So you can take your feet a little wider than your hips. Bend your knees and use the strength of your legs to make lots of length through the whole spine. Lift your sitting bones high, soften your heart down. Coming back down, seat. So as you can see, we are moving already into our second principle, which is going to be earth, strength, stability. So what's really cool about these principles is that they are guides for every co-creative act we could do. Whether we are creating a garden, we're going to first make space, right? And pluck all the old weeds out. We are in a new relationship and we become spacious, receptive, and open to the possibilities. Or we're sequencing our yoga class, right? We start from inviting people to empty out, make space, and then even as we begin to move, finding the space with the breath in the back of the body, staying connected to that spacious mind and heart. So I'm excited to take you through this journey and thank you for being on it with me. Please, I encourage you to leave any comments in our trainee circle, questions. There's no dumb question. And honestly, I really admire people who are willing to say, hey, I'm confused about this, because you're helping so many other people who are confused, but maybe are a little too scared to, to admit it. I hope this space principle, making space for baby, helped you find that happy place on the spectrum where we are making sure to keep mama safe and making sure to support baby by allowing prana to flow easily. And at the same time, inviting mama to trust that she is on the right path, that she is supported, and that prana is really what's creating this life within her. And we just need to give her space. Thank you. I'll see you in the next one.